Welcome to the 2022 Golf Summer Series race number 11. Today we're here in the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada for the Tim Hortons 250. As we reach the halfway point of one last summer, 38 of the summer's best have come to race at this historic road course and this man-made island across from downtown Montreal. But before we get started, let's take a look at our starting lineup. So on the pole is the 19 ANYKIND Bros, an excellent, perhaps one of the most hottest drivers in the summer series in the past couple races, Nathan Stapleton in the 97. Row 2, Dan McMurrow in the 99, and Nick Sand in the 20. Row 3, Andrew Rollins in the 23, and the 53 of Random J. Row 4, Ross McRoll and Kyle Salmon. Row 5, Bradley Reim and RC Gamer. Row 6, Ada Robertson and Riot Roberts. Row 7, Brendan Beal and Nathan Baird. Row 8, Hodelman 88 car and Jordan Forbes in the 61. Row 9, Johnny Hernandez and Canadian native Lipsy. Row 10, Owen Miles and Ryan Wilson. Row 11, Joe T and another Canadian, Gaming Freak in the 28. Row 12, Matthew Hill and fresh off his Eldora win, Roberto Crown Jr. Row 13, current points leader Richard Herman and Keisha Richardson. Row 14, Britton Carruthers and Dan Matteillo. Row 15, Xavier and Calvin Baker. Row 16, Jordan Stout and David Johnson. Row 17, Alex Cass-Stevens and Noah Clifton. Row 18, Trey Smith and Des Powell. And final row number 19, Jason Albert in the 80 and Matthew Burnett in the 13. And now it is time for the starting command here in Montreal.
Drivers, start your engines!
Let's take a look at the track info here for today's race. So I'm going to go 13 laps on this 2.7 mile long road course with 14 different turns. And as for here today in Montreal, 83 degrees Fahrenheit with 3 miles per hour towards the southwest. And of course the past two GSS Canada winners, Brad Reim in 2020 in the streets of Toronto, and this movement last year in 2021 in Mosport, aka Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. And with that being said, the pace cars are already down pit road, as the fans are all on their feet, ready for one of the most anticipated additions to the Summer Series calendar this year. And here we go, green flag, we're racing here in Montreal. And already Riot Roberts is racing absolutely no time, as he makes it 3 wide going into turns 1 and 2, as Stapleton and Rose remain side by side. Off with 2, the 2 make contact as Rose almost got sent into the grass. Into turn 3, this time by the 2 remain side by side, with Rose once again in the grass, and Stapleton hits the wall off turn number 4, as that mistake will allow Rose to clear the 97 to take the lead. And Stapleton wasn't actually the only driver who hit that turn 4 wall, as Riot Roberts alongside several others also fell victim to that wall. For now, through turns 6 and 7, Rose continues to lead in 19, with Dan McMurrow remaining in 3rd. Down this back shoulder, we got a battle for 6 between Random J and Ross McMurrow, as those 2 are going to be side by side, going into turns 8 and 9 this time by. Into 9, McMurrow's going to be in the grass as I allow Random J to clear the 10 car, as he'll now be side by side of Kyle Salmon in the 38. And coming to turn number 10, aka the hairpin, probably one of the most iconic parts of this racetrack, and I think definitely provides a good example of showing how tight these corners are, as of course this track was primarily designed for open wheel racing. So I think most everyone got off of turn number 10 just fine, as McMurrow remained side by side of Salmon for the 7th spot, as they continue down the Casino Straight. Coming to turns 12 and 13, right next to the Wall of Champions, also known as the Quebec Wall. Caleb Rose to come back towards the front stretch and lead lap number 1 here in Montreal. Lost time by the gap between Rose and Stapleton was about 0.6 of a second, but Dan McRolla trails by over a second. Of course, as I mentioned before, Stapleton's perhaps one of the hottest drivers here in the Summer Series. Of course, coming off a win at Papyrus a couple weeks ago at the last road course, as well as leading the most laps and getting a top 10 finish at the last race at Eldora. And because of that, Stapleton's now up to 17th in points after being below the top 30 in points just a few races ago. See Andrew Williams in 4th. Ironically, the same exact position he currently is in points, while Nick stands right behind him in 5th. So you see Brad Reim side by side with Aiden Robinson for the final top 10 spot, where Brendan Beal and Ryan Wilson are side by side also, as this is for the 14th position. Looks like off turn number 7, Beal will have the advantage over the 48 car, where fellow Chevy Jordan Forbes just behind in the 61. Coming in this race, Beal was 33rd in the point standings, lost over 4 spots and did miss on main event at Eldora. Off at 9, Forbes got a bad exit as he got into the grass, and will now be side by side of Hoodlum for the 16th spot. Of course, your defending series champion has won a road course race in the GSS in the past, of course being the Rover from last year, as him and Forbes remain side by side into the hairpin. As off the hairpin, we have the advantage over Forbes, as the two remain side by side down to Casino Straight. Meanwhile, moving further back a little bit through the field is your points leader of Richard Herman, who's currently below the top 25 as right now in 27th so far and having a good run. Of course, just lap number 2. But with road courses generally being really hard to pass and Herman being all the way back there, it can spell trouble for the 95's 22-point lead over Forbes. Meanwhile, that time by Caleb Wills with another lap. Stapleton continues to remain 0.6 of a second behind the 19, while Dan McRoll is approximately 1.1 seconds behind the 19. On border Stapleton through turns 3 and 4. As that time by had a really bad exit off turn 4 and roll out Caleb Rose to pull even further through turn number 5 and down this back straightaway. And going to turns 6 and 7, another big heavy braking zone here, besides really turns 8 and 9 in the hairpin of turn 10. And speaking of which, as these leaders continue down this back straightaway, we now come to turns 8 and 9. Another big heavy braking zone as I mentioned, as we got a cool looking flyby shot of all these cars going by. Continuing on board a little bit of Stapleton as you come to the hairpin of turn number 10 this time by. We'll see how good of a corner the 97 is going to get here. As he did get a decent corner that time by. As behind him to the battle for 3rd. Here comes Andrew Williams side by side with Dan McRolla, as the 99 went very wide off the corner that time by. But down 11, and due to Casino Straight, he will clear to 23 to maintain his 3rd position. But despite that, Williams is still right behind the back bumper of the 99 as we come to turns 12 and 13 this time by. Down the front stretch once again, the complete lap number 3, with Caleb Rose still the leader in the 19. As a lot of drivers are going to hit the dirt off turn number 13 there, as now the gap between Rose and Stapleton is over 1.1 seconds, and the gap between him and McRoll is over 2.4 seconds. So that really bad exit from Stapleton last time by off turn 4 really made him lose a lot of time on the 19. But thankfully he does still have a little bit of time to make back up that ground. Come back to 3rd, as off of 4. Williams is going to hit the wall in the 23, losing a lot of ground on the 99, as he'll now be side by side with Nick Sand for 4th. And in the 5, Nick Sand's going to clear with absolute ease, as Random James right behind the back bumper of the 23 into turns 6 and 7 this time by. And predictably enough, Ram's going to be side by side with the 23, as Ross McRoll has the potential to make it 3 wide down the back shoulder once again, until thankfully, unfortunately, the 10 backs off. Down the back, Random with the advantage over Williams. But the question is, will he clear him going into turns 8 and 9? Looks like Random will have the advantage, but gets in the grass. So while Williams remains side by side with the 53 as he continue towards the hairpin. You know, also right behind Ross McRoll side by side of Kyle Salmon into the hairpin this time by. We'll see what's going to happen here as both these battles continue to take place. It looks like off the hairpin, Salmon's going to clear McRolla, while it looks like Random's going to clear the 23 down to Casino Straight. But as I said, here comes McRolla once again fighting back with the 38 down to Casino Straight as they continue to be side by side for 7th. Into turns 12 and 13, looks like Salom is going to finally clear Mick as the field comes to lap number 5 or 13 this time by. Going into this race, Rose was 8th in the point standings after falling 2 positions after Eldora. It was, of course, the face of a very controversial restart during that race, as during our second restart of that race, he started up towards the front row despite being a lap down. A little bit further back here in 7th, RC Gamer trying to peek his nose to the outside of Mick. Behind him in 9th is Rose's teammate Brad Reim, who of course won in Toronto back in 2020. And around goes Brendan Beal off for turn number 2. He's going to collect the 48 of Ryan Wilson as well, as we're under caution here in Montreal. You see the heavy damage on both the 16 and the 48, as Roberto Crown nearly got into the back of him there, as Beal is still in the grass in the 16. Thank God they caught a caution, as Jason Albert in the 80 car is down pit road. I don't really think this is related to the caution, as you're getting reports now Albert lost a gear on the 80 car. And it's just yet another tough and unfortunate break for Albert and the 80 team, as he came to this race a rather mediocre 18th in the point standings. Meanwhile, Caleb Rose in the 19 still leads, and unless something unforeseen happens, will likely be the leader back to the caution into the restart. And it goes without saying that Rose has looked absolutely dominant so far in the 19. It could definitely be a great opportunity for him to get his first ever Golf Summer Series win and to become only the second Rofan driver to win this year after Brad Reim at Texas World, where fittingly enough, Rose finished just right behind him in second. In addition, if he does indeed win here today, it would be the third consecutive GSS race we've seen a first-time winner after a last race at Eldora, where Roberto Crown got his first career win, while the race before that, Nathan Stapleton got his first career win at Papyrus. And as the 19 comes off turns 12 and 13 this time by, he'll come back to the start-finish line to complete lap number 5 or 13. But anyways, let's take a look at the instant replay to see what caused our first caution here in Montreal. So all just started going through turns 1 and 2. Watch right, Roberts once again being 3 wide, this time with Nathan Barrett and Brendan Beal. So 3 go 3 wide into turn number 1, with Beal going wide into 16. And he comes up on Barrett into 2, but subsequently sent Barrett into Roberts. Barrett and Beal make contact again, this time sending Beal into the wall and into Wilson. The 48 having absolutely nowhere to go there. It looks like thankfully no one else was involved, as we're on board with the 48 car of Wilson here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell if Beal came down on Baird or vice versa. Regardless, still a tough break for both the 48 and the 16. Was on board to photo him in the 88 car. As this happened right in front of him, it's going to be another great miss for the defending series champion. Good job to hood him there. And finally, let's take a look what happened to Jason Albert, who's running pretty deep in the field already. And off of 2 here, he just slows down all of a sudden, holding up both this Powell and Trey Smith. And you can see Smith and Powell trying to get around him. And yeah, that's definitely the definition of a driver losing a gear all of a sudden. Anyways, under caution here in Montreal for the first time here today. We'll be right back to you guys after this. Welcome back to the Golf Summer Series here in Montreal. We're about to break green after Brendan Beal and Ryan Wilson wrecked into turn number 3. Fortunate for both drivers to still continue the rest of the race. Also during that same time, the 80 car Jason Albert, who's still on pit road, lost the gear on that Chevy. And despite that team doing the best they possibly can to fix that car, they're likely out of race winning contention here today. But anyways, your current top 3 is Caleb Rose, who has dominated this race thus far, followed by the 97 of Nathan Stapleton and the 99 of Ross Paparola, as we're back in the green here in Montreal. Race start for Stapleton in the turns 1 and 2, as him and Rose remain side by side as they continue down these narrow corners, with many cars on the outside being in the grass. As both Stapleton and Rose make contact again off for turn number 2, this time sending Rose into the wall and losing a lot of ground. Right behind him also is issues with the 53 of Random J. And much like Rose, he was into the top 5, as he also got ran into the grass and hit the wall off turn number 2 that time by. As he'll be 3 wide into turns 3 and 4 this time by, as he continues to go wide on the outside and hits the wall in front of Cass Stevens and after Bernard Monk Gutters. This Powell in the 7 also involved as well, as there was heavy damage to the 53 as well as the 12 of Cass Stevens. But despite this revelation, GSS officials will not call it a caution. Just unbelievable. We'll take a look at the instant replay here. So when Stapleton was on the grass, came up on Rose, and off 2, hits the wall, runs out of room, gets into the grass, and gets past by pretty much everybody here. And there's Random behind. I'm not sure if he got slowed down by the 19 or had another issue completely unrelated. But regardless, he also lost a lot of track position to ground. As here we go into turn 3 and 4 this time by. He's in the grass, hits the wall in front of Cass Stevens and Burnett, and does powwow with heavy damage to all of those cars there. And yeah, I personally don't agree with GS officials not calling out a caution, especially since the fact they called the incident of Beal and Wilson a caution. Yet this incident of Random J, Matthew among others, I think is worse, but we're still remain green. And of course, this isn't the first time this year GSS officials have been involved in the controversy of their officiating. As of course, last time at Eldora, they faced scrutiny and plenty of criticism from drivers on how they handled the pit road situation under caution. So honestly, if I was one of the GSS officials right now, I'd probably hire some extra security because this is the second race in a row they're going to be involved in some sort of controversy. Now I'll come back to lap number 9 of 13, with obviously Nathan Stapleton still leading, with Nick Sant trailing by 0.3 of a second to 20, and Dan McRoller still in third, trailing by just under a second. Taking a look at Kyle Steinman in 38 here in 6. Not too bad run there for him. We know Nathan Baird behind him in 87, coming off a bad race from Eldora, as he came to this race 27 to point standings after losing 6 positions in the standings. You know, Baird's teammate Carter Hoodlum was working on Ross McRoller for the 8th position. He's right behind that back bumper of the 10. We got about for the lead now. Here's Nick Sant side by side of Stapleton. Stapleton still with the advantage through turn number 7 as they continue to be side by side down this back straightaway. Going into turns 8 and 9 here, it could be possibly a great opportunity for Nick Sant to get around Stapleton. Looks like it will possibly be the case as Nick Sant gets in the grass, but still takes the lead anyway, with Stapleton also going to get in the grass as he's now going to be side by side with McRoll for second. In the turn number 10, looks like Dan McRoll will clear Stapleton for second, and definitely lots of mistakes made there by Stapleton as he lost 2 positions in a span of 20 seconds as we can take a look against the replay here. So into 6. Nick Sant got a great run off the 97 and just remained side by side with him, with Stapleton still having a slight advantage over the 20. But once you go into turns 8 and 9 here, this is where Stapleton really starts to screw up. So he gets in the grass despite Nick Sant getting in the grass as well. Stapleton gets into the grass again, allowing Dan McRolla to get to the inside of the 97 and eventually pass him into the hairpin. So almost similar to our last race at Eldora, Stapleton's team or himself made a costly mistake that's likely going to cost them this race unless something happens here. You know, of course, that time by Nick Sant led lap number 9 as he come to lap number 10 this time by. As you continue to take a look at the rest of the field here, with Aiden Robertson in the 54 and 12th, but Wright Robertson 42 is in 13th. Robertson's currently 26 in the standings, while Roberts is in 36. Both of them not really having a good summer thus far. You know, behind him is Johnny Hernandez in the 46, who came to this race 14th for the point standings. As he continues to march his way towards the top 10 in the standings, here comes Owen Miles side by side. He hits the ball alongside Gaming Freak off for turn number 4 there. And yeah, those set of corners have been proven to be very, very tricky throughout the entire race, even back in lap number 1, with many drivers hitting that wall. Where Matthew Hill right behind him is in 18th. There's your Eldora winner of Roberto Crown, currently 19th in the 31, while behind him is the points leader Richard Herman, who of course started pretty deep in the field and was as far back as 27th at one point. But now he's currently the last car inside this top 20, which is rather respectable, especially at a road course where it's hard to pass. Behind him in 21st is Keith Sharonson in the 24, who came to this race 16th in the point standings. And behind him is another Pontiac, a Joe T, the 8 car, who came to this race 5th in the point standings. And it really seems like every time Joe T has a good race, he has a bad race and immediately following it. For example, at Daytona he had a good race, but at Papyrus he was involved in a very scary wreck. And speaking of wrecks, behind him in 23rd and 24th is Brendan Beal and Ryan Wilson, who have done a pretty respectable job, all things considered, to keep their pace despite having damaged cars. 25th is Noah Clift in the 76, of course finished second in the last race in Eldora after winning the heat race, and moved up 7 positions in points up to 28th. You know, Brandon Carruthers also made it to the main event via the heat race, is currently behind him in 26, as he came to this race still 34th in the point standings. Xavier in the 33 behind him is in 27th, and has been an absolute free fall this month so far. While it looks like to be another bad run for Calvin Baker in the 21, as he's currently 28th. Speaking of drivers having another bad run, Jordan Stout in the 11 car in 29 for Dan Matteillo rounds off the rest of the top 30. And something that's pretty common between both these drivers is that they started off the season quite well, but haven't really done much over the past couple races or so. 31st is Trey Smith in the 22. He did get held up by Jason Albert back at lap number 5 when he had his issue, but he wasn't really running well to begin with. 32nd is David Johnson in the 2 car, who came to this race 20th in the point standings after a bad race at Eldora. Or behind him is Random J and Matthew Burnett, who are 33rd and 34th respectively, after of course wrecking during our restart. And you see Jason Albert is currently 37th, 2 laps down, as that team spent a very long time down pit road to fix that car. There you see Caleb Rose down to 35th after winning the pole and dominating for most of the first half of this race, as he was also involved in that restart commotion. And finally, the last car on the lead lap is this pal on the 7, who actually had to go down pit road briefly to get rid of the hood and any excess damage of that car, as he's currently 36. And as for the other driver who's 2 laps down and is actually currently last on the board, that's Alex Stevens in the 12, who around the same time when this powwow came down pit road, just took it to the garage and called it a day, as he had a lot of damage to that 12, as he was also another driver involved in that restart commotion on lap number 8. Meanwhile, coming to 2 laps ago here in Montreal, Nick Sant still leads in the 20, as last time by the gap between him and Mick Marola was about half a second. It looks like that remains actually exactly the same as the 2099 go through turns 1 and 2 once again this time by. As Mick Marola that time by got a great run into turn number 2, as he's almost right behind the 20. Let's go on board with Mick Marola's goes through turns 3 and 4 this time by. As he got a pretty decent exit off of 4 there, but Nick Second just continues to pull away in the 20 as time is quickly running out for the 99 to make a move here. And ooh, into 6. That was a great entry for the 99, but can he take advantage of that off of 7? As it looks like he lost ground there as he continued down the back straightaway. And now coming towards turns 8 and 9, probably one of the trickiest corners in the entire track. We've seen a lot of drivers get in the dirt here today. What would happen here? Off turns 8 and 9, both drivers did a good job there staying off the grass. But what's going to happen here is you go to the hairpin of turn number 10, which is of course yet another tricky and tight corner at this racetrack, as that time by Mick Marola got a great run into the hairpin. Really get a good run off of it. But it looks like he's not going to get really that good of a run off of it as he continues down to Casino Straight. Of course, Mick Marola has a quite lengthy win-win streak here in the Summer Series, as the last time he's won a points-paying Summer Series race was Dodge Motor Dome in 2020, also winning last year's Spring Showdown. But through turns 12 and 13 this time by, time is running out for Mick Marola to make a move, as this time by we come to the white flag here in Montreal. Last time by the gap between Mick Marola and Nick Sant was about 0.7 of a second, but with roughly 2.7 miles left to go, of course just about anything could happen here. But so far, Nick Sant's done a great job of maintaining his lead over the 99 as he go into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Another good exit for Nixon off of 4 that time by, as Mick Marola is going to fall back once again as we go to turn number 5 and now to turn 6 and 7. And it's going to be a good entrance for both the 20 and 99, but much like the last time by, Mick Marola had a good exit off for turn number 7 as he continued down the back straightaway for the final time. Continuing down the tricky corners of turns 8 and 9, many drivers have screwed up here today and lost track position. But what happened to one of them is both of them have good exits off both those corners there, as the two continue down the straightaway and come to the hairpin of turn number 10 for the final time, as this corner could be the difference between someone winning this race and losing this race. On board the back bumper of Nick Sant, as Mick Marola once again struggles exiting off the hairpin, as Nick Sant comes to turn number 11 and down to Casino Straight. Continuing down to Casino Straight, there's pretty much nothing Mick Marola can do here as the 20 continues to pull away. The last time Nick Sant has won a Summer Series race was around the same time last year in Atlanta, which was his first Summer Series win. But through turns 7 and 13, he's going to add another trophy to his trophy case. Checkered flag for Nick Sant as he wins here in Montreal. Congratulations to Nick Sant and Albert Motorsports. Is that your understood today here in Montreal? Of course, as I mentioned already, this is Nick Sant's second career Summer Series win after getting his first last year in Atlanta. While this is the second straight win for Albert Motorsports after, of course, Roberto Crown winning on the last race at Eldora, and their third win overall this season so far. But anyways, let's take a look at the finishing results after today's race. So here we go. Nick Sant finishes first in the 20 car after leading a grand total of 5 laps today. Didn't quite get the most laps led as Rose led 6 laps, but still obviously fantastic point save for that 20. Definitely much in the point standings as they came this race just below the top 10 in the points. You know, Dan McWillow finishes second in the 99 car, also much in the points, good point stay for them as well. Well, Nathan Stapleton gets another top 10 finish, finishing third in the 97. So Stapleton has finished inside the top 10 in the past 3 races, with 2 of those also being top 3. So despite Stapleton's mistake while in the lead here today, it's still been a fantastic run for these past 2 races for that 97 team. Meanwhile, Andrew Rollins finishes 4th in the 23, while RC Gamer gets a top 5 in the 1 car. Kyle Salmon finishes 6th in the 38, while 2 of the Hernandez cars of Nathan Baird and Hudwam finished 7th and 8th respectively. Lipsy in the 9 car with a much needed top 10 run, ironically finishing 9th, while also ironically finishing 10th is the 10 car of Ross Piparola. And now for the point standings after race number 11, with Richard Herman still on top of the standings with 341 points. However, Andrew Williams is back up to second in points, only behind by 7, and was able to take advantage of Herman's rather mediocre run here today. And in addition as well, for the next race being a short track race at Myrtle Beach, and with Williams winning on the last paved short track at Iowa, it can provide a great opportunity for that 23 to overtake the 95 in points. Meanwhile, Jordan Forbes is back down to 3rd in points, behind by 17, while Maverick Hill in 4th is behind by 20. Meanwhile, Brad Reim is back inside the top 5 in points, behind by 21, where Joe T moves down again, down to 6th, behind by 25. Up to 7th is the 20 of Nick Sant, today's winner, who's now behind by 27 points, while Lipsy is up to 8th in points, behind by 34 at this time. Meanwhile, after a bad day today, Matthew Burnett is now down to 9th in points, behind by 40, and rounding off the top 10 is none other than the 97 and Nathan Stapleton, behind by 44, as this is the first time since race number 1 that 97 has been inside the top 10 in points. So next up, race number 12, we kick off our southeastern streak with one of the most popular summer vacation destinations, the Myrtle Beach Speedway for the Denny's 400, which will be on this channel in the coming days. But as always, y'all, thank you guys for watching this race. If you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.